Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sam Zagar. Of course, we're doing another YouTube reading today. We're going to be reading for a 2-4 emotional generator. It's exciting. This is my first emotional generator that we're doing. And we have a very intriguing body graph and a very specific question. What is your biggest question? How to navigate life with an open G and so much fixedness. But I do love my fixedness. Are you having a problem you need help with? I ended up in the wrong environment before human design, and I don't know where I want to live yet. What else are you curious about? Making money with my open G. Okay, cool. This is very specific. I've got an open G center. And if you're looking at what I'm looking at this point, you're probably noticing that the G center is the only thing open in this body graph. I'm going to point out a couple of very obvious mechanics, at least obvious to me. We have 8 centers defined. This is a very, very, very defined emotional generator. This is also a true emotional generator because I have the channel of mating, which means I have a connection between the sacral center and the solar plexus center. That helps me with the response and the authority. There's a level of direct communication there. Now, this person is still a triple split. There are a lot of splits. I've got the floating head and ajna, I've got the floating spleen and throat, and then I've got all 4 motors connected over here. Now, they want to talk about the G center, and yet you can't talk about one thing without bringing up other things in relation to it. So I'm looking at this open G center, and I want to suss out a few things about the G center. Totally open. That means no hanging gates, as in open-ended question, no points of prejudice. When you have a hanging gate, you have a kind of like an area of a topic that you get stuck on. But I don't have that here. So if I don't have any hanging gates in an undefined center, how does that change something about their relationships? No electromagnetic connections with the G center. This is not someone who has electromagnetics that get them attracted to the G center in someone else. This is someone who needs to be dominated by someone else's G center in order to really be conditioned. It's kind of nice, right? I see that there's it's like not a blessing or a gift. It's kind of a funny thing to say, especially because they're a second line. But there's a blessing or a gift in the fact that they're not going to be too caught up in not self stuff with other people. It's like that not self attraction isn't so much there. If they're going to bring someone else's G center and they're bringing a defined G center into them, now that's a different kind of attraction, but it's also a different, it's not like access. Access is a funny thing to say, but I want to talk about like reading somebody and a little bit about guiding somebody, but I'm not using guiding language as in projector guiding language, as in projectors guide by grabbing the monopole of somebody else, the magnetic monopole. This is in general like a guiding, as in like I can help move you through something. I can be like your tour guide of something, not your monopole guide of something. This person is an excellent guide in terms of helping other people with their identity. That's what this gift is. It's like people should be able to bring their definition and kind of put it into this person's openness. And then they kind of get more of a feeling of who that other person is based on, I want to say, the amplification that they're getting. But sometimes I think people hear amplification and they're seeing that as like there's an action coming out of it. Like just because you're amplifying someone doesn't mean that like you're being them to a bigger version. It means like you're feeling them in a big way also. So when someone with a defined G center walks into this emotional generator's aura, they're going to feel that person in a big way. They're going to feel that person's whatever they're bringing. Now, in general, the G center is about love, identity, and direction. In general, it's about identity. Specifically, it's about love and direction, depending on which one of the gates that you're looking at. There are 4 love gates and there are 4 directional gates. Now, this person brought me the question of they don't think they've necessarily landed in their right environment. They still want to find their right environment. I'm going to take the word environment and I'm going to play with that for a second. G center is looking for love and direction. It's not quite that it's looking for environment, but it's looking for the direction to get to the environment. And ultimately, we're saying like the direction to get to the place that feels like what feels like home, feels like there's a sense of belonging, love, and direction are supposed to give you this sense of belonging, as in, I belong here. But there's an I-ness to it, which is where the identity is coming from. Now, just because this person has an open G center doesn't mean that it's automatically in a healthy place, and it doesn't automatically mean that it's in an unhealthy place. An unhealthy open G center is going to very much look for love and direction. It is not going to be comfortable waiting for strategy and authority. It's going to initiate direction, initiate love. Another thing that we can see with the undefined G center in a negative place is kind of like being obsessed with labels, terms, like anything that is like how you define someone's identity. Like this person, if they're not in a healthy state, I would expect that this person is like always changing their Instagram bio, always changing their website bio, always telling a bit of like a different origin story. Like they can't quite pin down like the accurate story of who they are. Whereas the very healthy, open G center doesn't really care about who it is. It's not like I need to find love and direction and I need to initiate and I need to go seek. It's more like when I trust strategy and authority, I will go where I'm supposed to go. I will meet who I'm supposed to meet. I will love who I'm supposed to love. Everything is coming to me. That's the thing. Everything is coming to me. Think about the magnetic monopole, a singular pole and a magnetic quality, an attraction quality. The magnetic monopole is always pulling in, pulling in, pulling in, like a monopole. There's a singular pole, there's a singular charge. Pull, 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 monopole, one pull one way. Oh my God, the language is so obvious when you actually get into it. I'm dealing with an emotional generator. The strategy here is wait to respond. And the authority is, do I have clarity? And so when they think about like, where do I belong? It's like, I belong where I have a response to go and where I feel comfortable being there. Comfortable is a word that I'm using for clarity. I have a response. I give it time. I trust myself. I'm comfortable being there. And through that, I learn where I belong. But I always have to, it's not always have to, it's like I can't help but look at things through the four transformations. If anybody says environment to me, I hear environment and I hear a lot of things, I'll be honest, because I hear keynotes and I see where they belong. So if anybody just says environment, I hear G center things. I hear an authority for a mental projector. I hear something that's important to the reflector. But I also know that there is like the actual literal nodal environment. This is someone who is a market's external environment. Now, if I had a reflector come to me and they're like, I don't know where I belong, I wouldn't have any center definition to look at. And I would always go to substructure. So if this was a reflector, I would immediately go to markets external in terms of talking about their environment, because I would be looking for the immediate macro environment, or like biggest affecting the environment that has the largest potential effect on somebody. And I'm going to be looking at like, what is your actual environment? And it's so interesting because I'm looking at this person and I'm like, North node is 29, South node is 30. 29 and 30 is this person's nodal group. That's also my nodal group. On each other's fractals. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, so this person is a market's external. This person is meant to work out of the home, but it's still a two. It's a transactional place. Now, it's not like I'm just going to lock this person in a market and be like, that's where you stay forever and you will always feel best here. It's like, no, like I have to be careful about how literal people take these things. But I'm like, this is a sacral being. The work is the way. The work is the way. How do you know what to do for work? It's what you have a response to. The work isn't the thing you slog through because it's supposed to be satisfying, right? If you were slogging through something you hated, it wouldn't be satisfying. And so the work is meant to be satisfying. You want to do the work that is satisfying, but you also want to make sure that you have clarity on the jobs that you accept and likely clarity on the people that you're working with in the job. The sacral is more like, I can do it. The solar plexus is like, I could do it with them. You know, like there's a truth and confrontation, there's a communion, I've got a channel of community person here, there's a bargain, but who are you making the bargain with? Another person. There's a lot of bargain stuff attached to this. So where do you work? What is the work that you've had a response to? Because if you're like, I still haven't found my right environment, my backup question is like, have you found your right work? Are you satisfied with the work that you're doing? Do you have clarity that this is the right work for you? And when I'll be honest, I see a defined ego, but an unconscious channel of community. You are likely working too hard for lack of appreciation. Just going to let that sink in for a second, see if that resonates, see if you have a response to that. Are you working too hard for not enough appreciation? Because if you are, guaranteed you're with the wrong people. And if you're with the wrong people, you probably don't feel like you found home or love or where you belong. So, how much of you feeling like you haven't found your right environment yet? Are you really saying you haven't found your right markets external? Or are you saying you haven't found the right people to populate your environment? I got a 2-4, fourth line network. Network is huge here. Are you with your people? We always back it up to strategy and authority. Are you waiting to respond? Are you waiting to respond? Are you waiting to respond? I honestly anticipate it would be very hard for you to wait to respond because of all of what feels like trapped power. We have a lot of definition. We have a 4-motor package down here. And it's like, you've got the energy, right? You've got the energy. The question is, where does it belong? What are you supposed to be doing with it? You need to be working in a markets environment. You need to be working where there's a place of like bargain, transaction, bartering. Your channel of community is like, yes, I've been trying to tell them this, you know. But then I've got need motivation. Like if everything is going well for you, and I don't mean like happy or successful or anything. I mean like if things are going correct for you, if things are going unique, if they're going differentiated for you, if they're going the way that your way is supposed to go, you end up with a place where you have outer authority for others with a layer of need motivation. So there's an educational motivation. You're here to give education to people. And then here's a kicker. We put that in a second line personality. You're like, yeah, but on what? Like, what's my gift? What's my genius? I know I'm brilliant. So I've got a second line who's been pulling a second line receptive sacral being who's been pulling all this information into them. And their need motivation, like they're meant to have this information pulled back out and given to the people that it's kind of like to their educational advantage to give it to them. But only when the bargain is good. I'm wondering if part of, I'm like, the receptivity, second line with the receptivity and the need motivation and judgment sense, there's a good chance that you're actually going to be very uncomfortable with what your role or your task is because you can't necessarily see your own gift. You're not sure how to access all of this information that you know people are supposed to pull out of you. And you know that you're here to educate people, to give them what they need educationally. And it's backed with judgment sense, which is really like a frequency of truth. And, you know, behind that, I've got 8 centers bringing this to somebody. So I talked a lot about like kind of like what your definition is And I may not have used the word money directly, but I hope that you heard that in terms of like work, business, and financing a little bit. But we're going to talk about the G center and money. Ra has I don't know, a course, a topic, a money course that he does. And he talks about how to sell from your openness. Now, there are two ways to do this. And how I say this is you can sell from your openness like a real jerk, or you can sell from your openness like a real good quality person. And if you're selling like a jerk, you're selling the conditioning. So if this person wants to sell like a jerk, they're going to convince everyone of the same problem that they have, which is you need to find your love and direction. You need to find your love and direction. And so if this person starts trying to sell things where it's like, come to me and I'll help you with your love and direction, it's like, ah, that's not, please don't. But if as the open G, they're advertising to people, come to me and I'll help you be fine with where you are. Come to me and I'll help you realize you're already home. Think about that. Like when you're selling something to somebody in terms of a lack, like it doesn't feel good. It is easier to sell that way. You might make more money that way, but it doesn't feel good and your reputation will be short-lived. If you're like, you need to find love and home and direction, this is how you do it. This is how you develop yourself, and this is how you become more compatible, and this is how you like match that person, and this is how you, it's like if I can sell someone like how to become the thing that your future partner wants or whatever, ugh. But if I'm selling from a good place, like what should this person really be selling? The greatest thing that this person can sell is transformation, and transformation towards differentiation. But they only have one undefined center, as in they really only have one of their own centers that they are here to transform in this lifetime. They have to have lived experience to do this. And so when this person is good in their way of being like, I don't need to go look for love. I don't need to go look for direction. I don't need to go look for identity. I am love. I am home. Like I am the treasure. When that is the vibe, that makes that person very attractive to other people that have the same issue or the same lack. If I meet this person and they make me feel okay about the fact that I also have an undefined G center, they're doing good things. If they make it feel okay for me to have an absence or have a lack or not have the same thing as somebody else, they're making it okay that I'm different. That's what I think is the best profit. Like, it's weird. I said profit, but it came out like profit. Some of y'all might have caught that. Some of y'all might be like, what is she talking about? When I see the best reputation for this person, high profitability, good, positive transformation in the world, I also think, like, again, the sacral being is here to put their energy into what they have a response to, as in they literally grow the world around them. The sacral center is fertile. This person has the potential to grow the world around them through a positive sacral response, to literally infuse everything around them with a level of satisfaction. And I can't imagine how satisfying it's going to feel to this person to be able to, like, it's like weird. I'm like, guide, empower, share, support. Like they've got all the circuits, kind of like all of the keynotes for tribal, collective, and individual are here. Like this person will support, they will empower, they will share, and it's going to be satisfying for them. But ultimately, what they want to help people through or support people through or educate people through is this primary transformation. And in that, you're selling people that being open or being undefined is enough. But in the like very specific question of like, I don't know if I found my right identity. I don't know if I found my right environment yet. Market's external. Where are you spending your time? It better be out of the house. It should be in places of transaction. These can be stores. These can be like, I love a farmer's market. I love a flea market. I love an internet cafe. I like, you could hang out at the bottom of a stock exchange kind of place. Like, go to a thrift store, go to a, but where can one idea be traded for another? Where can one concept be traded for another? Where can one item be traded for another? That's where you're going to feel the best. Okay. I'm going to leave that one there.